want to tell you the story of an amazing family that changed this nation and even the world. The Gurney family were Quakers, and there were 10 children. Their great-great-grandfather was put in prison in Norwich for 3 years in 1693 because he was a follower of George Fox, the first Quaker. Their father was a banker, and he married Catherine Barclay, who came from another Quaker banking family. And in fact, the Gurney Bank and Barclay Bank merged to become Barclays in 1896. They were brought up here at Earlham Hall, which is now part of the East Anglian University. And they were brought up with a strong Christian ethos. Their parents were not too concerned about the strict Quakerism. And in fact, several of the children later in life turned their backs on Quakerism to become Anglicans. Sadly, Catherine died in 1792, leaving her oldest daughter, also called Catherine, to look after the family with her father, something she did for 50 years. It was the custom of those days to write a journal, and 9 out of 10 of the children used to write a daily journal. And so we get an incredible insight into this amazing family through their writings. Probably the greatest aspect of the environment they lived in here, in this place, was love. You can see in the journals, you can see in their letters later on, how they poured out love on their family and on those around them. It must have been a wonderful thing to have been a visitor here, because you would have been the focus of all this abundant love. I would love to have been here and experienced that. Someone who was the focus of such love was a 16-year-old boy who had just failed at school, and he was invited by one of the brothers to stay here for a couple of months. And whilst here, he completely changed. The love and encouragement that he received made him look at life completely different. And this was helped by the fact that he fell in love here. One day, one of the daughters came back home, having visited her sister, and as she arrived here in her carriage, she got out, and Thomas Fowell Buxton took one look at her and said that he was going to marry her. Buxton then went from here to Trinity College, Dublin, where he came top of his class every year. And he then became an MP, and he was the prime mover in abolishing slavery throughout the Commonwealth. Catherine believed in self-education, and you can see in their journals how they are often commenting on how their character needs improvement. Would that I had been so diligent. They were always trying to improve themselves, and the atmosphere at home was very conducive to the growth of their personalities and their minds. Earlham Hall was a nursery for great men and women. Not only Thomas Buxton, who I've already mentioned, but one of the daughters was Elizabeth Fry, a leader in reforming the prisons in this nation and abroad, an amazing woman who I've done a film on in my series of Forgotten Heroes. And there was her brother, Samuel, who was the leading financier of his day, and he had the largest discount house in the world. And when our economy was trashed through the Napoleonic Wars, he was part of the answer in building it up again. He was immensely wealthy, and he believed that every penny he owned belonged to God, and he used his wealth to support the ministries of his sister Elizabeth Fry and his brother-in-law Thomas Fowell Buxton. And then there was the youngest brother, Daniel, who garnered a tremendous reputation for his generosity. And then others were reformers and philanthropists, and one was a leading educationalist. They all achieved something really good, and they were all involved with the poor. I just love this family. I may eulogize over them too much, I don't know. But I have a feeling that the environment that they created here within their family is an environment that God would really be pleased with. And I feel that God would want that same kind of environment in our families. We need to pour out our love on our family members and on the people around us. An embrace at the right time, a word of love to somebody at the right time can transform their lives forever. Thomas Fowell Buxton received that here. It changed his life, and he went on to change the world.